What's going on, everyone? Steph Smalls here with my first episode of Smalls Talks Balls. I have a fantastic guest on with me, my friend Jake Ellenbogen. We were just going over how to say his name despite being good friends for quite some time. How's it going, Jake?
Oh, I'm great, Steph. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
We have so many fun mailbag questions. I'm going to get right into it. We only have 30 minutes. We'll start off with the first one these are all from Instagram. And I apologize to anyone that's watching this, someone in and I make a mistake, but from Rodolfo, ready? Why has Gaskin continued to break my heart? And I will allow you to go and start this off.
Oh, man. So Gaskin continues to break your heart because, well, Gaskin was the way he was drafted was if he was going to be like the guy, right? And you have, Ahmad there. You have Malcolm Brown, who they paid money for, like they legitimately paid some decent money for. But I just think the issue is the quarterback. I mean, right now, Tua is battling an injury, which we don't know what's going to happen with Tua. He's had injuries for a while. That was the biggest concern coming out of Alabama. But when you look at that, you have him and then he gets hurt. So then you go to Jacoby Brissett, who also has not been the same since his knee injury he suffered in Pittsburgh. And you start to be like, what is Miami? I mean, Brian Flores is a fantastic coach. That team would be in the playoffs, but I don't even know what to say about them with all the injuries going on. So I'm not going to say like go and send him to the nearest trash bin, but I'm also not going to tell you to, start him necessarily every single week. He's not a must start anymore. He's a flex to, I would say at this point, borderline bench, depending on the matchup. It's just really hard with him if there's no passing attack.
Right. And I think you said it best too. And this is one of those teams, right? What is the identity of this offense? I have no idea. I just simply don't know. We haven't had enough Tua. Now Tua gets hurt. We finally bring in Waddle. We bring in Fuller, and we're starting to kind of see what's going on. And then, the O-line is not doing quite as well as I would have expected. And then you have Gaskin. You also have, Gesicki. What is the identity? You need to figure it out. So I think that that's part of it. I think that the Dolphins don't know who they are. And I think that that's impacting us as fantasy players because
trade Deshaun Watson. Get Deshaun Watson. Just do it. Just do it.
It's so upsetting because I think the Dolphins, were in such a good spot and we saw what they were able to do very quickly. But, again, we just really don't know who this team is. I don't know. And hopefully Tua can pull it together and come in and hopefully Jacoby Brissett doesn't come in and take his job. Honestly, Brissett's better than people realize. I don't think it's going to happen, but just know he's not as bad as you think.
No. Steph, I loved Brissett coming out of college. The issue is he suffered a knee injury. I think it was an MCL against the Steelers. The Colts were they're going all over the place. I mean, it was 11 touchdown Ebron that season. And they really looked good after Luck. Yeah. And it was like they threw him in the fire. They're like, I don't know what to do. Luck just retired. So I guess, Brissett. And Brissett was really good. And then he hurts his knee against Pitt. And he's just not the same. He's not the same quarterback. It's upsetting.
That's fair. We'll move on to the next one before I go in on my Dolphin spiel. So this is from Michael_less. What is a fair trade for CMC? Wide receiver 1 and RB2?
Is this coming off the injury?
I would assume so. It came in today. So I think this is panic. Okay. This is like a panicky. It kind of also depends, right? Is this dynasty? Is this not dynasty? But it's hard because you have to realize you have to gauge the people that are in your leagues too.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, I'm sure. If you're in a league full of casual fans, they'll see Christian McCaffrey and be like, "Oh, pick me. I'll take him. Right. Like for me personally, I think there's a concern there.
We were on the same page, so we won't talk about it too much. But the two of us were always concerned with him coming back from this injury. So
exactly, and it's the nagging that's the issue. So if you're trading, he's trading McCaffrey away, right? Or trade? No, he's trading for McCaffrey. Is that
trading? Oh, he's trading 4. Okay, you're right. I actually was thinking in my head he's trading him away. I think now is the time to sell McCaffrey, in my opinion. I think that while the hype is still there and we're still like, oh no, McCaffrey this, McCaffrey that, that's fine. Now it's time to actually sell him because God forbid, maybe he doesn't, we see this be a nagging thing, then you
Chuba Hubbard comes out of nowhere and, impresses them enough to make that even a Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard type of split. That's an issue.
So we have not answered the question. We are just telling you don't trade for CMC, sell CMC.
Yeah, don't. I would not be trading for CMC. No.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. This comes from son_of_Odin. Robert Woods or Devonta Smith, half PPR. If people do not know, Jake, actually, I'll let you go ahead and do your spiel.
This one's tough. Devonta Smith, I know, is Steph's dude over there, and he's really good. He's got a great rapport early on with Jalen Hurts, and obviously that stems from playing in college. Obviously, they know each other. But at the same time, Robert Woods has a pretty good rapport with Matthew Stafford, and I would just say this: it's through 2 weeks. I know everyone's getting all up in. Well, you told me, Robert Woods would score more than Cooper Kupp. You're wrong. It's 2 weeks, guys. Cooper Kupp he's the man, but Robert Woods is going to get more, play in this offense. And the thing I love about Woods is actually the carrying that he's going to get, because he's going to get a lot of carries. Darrell Henderson with the injury, we don't know what's going to go on there. They might want to, introduce more carrying into the offense for him. So I just think he's a better option. Plus, he's a sustainable guy. This is, Devonta Smith is a rookie. I don't feel worried about, the curve with Robert Woods. He's shown against no matter what defense out there since 2017 joining the Rams, he's made an impact. Devonta Smith, we've only seen 2 games. So while Smith, I had a very high grade on coming out of college, I would definitely lean towards Woods in half PPR. And it's close. It's a good question. Especially I feel like everyone's just kind of getting off the Woods wagon right now because they see what Kupp's doing. Just let's wait. It is only week 3. I think Woods is going to have a huge role in this offense. He's going to go over 1,000 yards if he stays healthy. So I'd say Woods.
And as much as it makes me this seriously makes me sick to say as a Giants fan, and I doubted them, I will admit it. The Cowboys defense low key isn't as bad as I thought. And it drives me crazy and it hurts my feelings. But I agree too. I think, and also I've been saying this, right? I think Tampa and Rams is going to come down to a shootout. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for scoring. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for touches. Like, this is going to be it's a very fantasy friendly, as much as it doesn't seem like that. It's a very fantasy friendly game because of the fact that they're going to be competing. Like these are 2 teams that are very much Super Bowl contenders. So, and again, like you said, we're still bringing Matthew Stafford. They haven't, we know the identity of the offense, but it hasn't been declared, right? So there's still time.
Well, last year, I just watched this game. It was 2 a.m. and I rewatched the game. Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp went over 100 yards in that game.
Right.
They were all over the place, and that was Jared Goff.
Right.
So now you have Matthew Stafford. This could he could be approaching 150 yards in this one.
Right.
We'll see.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I would definitely go
to
with
the next one, which is more, we went from your team, we'll go to my team. And I'm pulling up here my tweet from the other day so I can follow it up. But so Kev, not Key, my bad. Kev_cover24 says, I got Barkley in 3 leagues, starting him in all of them. Will he be a top 3 RB this week, standard and PPR? I will start because I would love to start, and it's my show, so I can't. Come on, top 3, no. I mean, he's not going to finish top 3, I don't think, this week. I think that we all need to lower expectations. Is that his ceiling? Absolutely. Against a very sedated Falcons offense, for sure. He is going to do very well this week, or at least he should, as long as Jason Garrett decides to use him properly. But we've seen the Giants, he went from a 48% snap count to an 84% snap count to seeing a 41-yard run. He is making the improvements that you need. Everyone needs to be patient. Top 3 is asking a lot out of him coming off of this injury, but I think we're approaching that number. How do you feel?
I feel good against the Falcons, not top 3 good. And like you said, Saquon, of course, we're talking ceiling, absolutely. You can get him super cheap in DFS. Yes, I'm going to go with Saquon because I
Yeah.
think the upside's there. For fantasy, though, not top 3. I would say let him surprise you. Don't rank him top 3 yet.
Yeah.
Let him surprise you.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay, this one I think, and this is not. I'm just saying this is a little bit of a funny question. I want to see your reaction when I tell you. So, this comes from James _ and I'm gonna mess this up. Pepiniers. I just traded Hawkinson and J. Rob for Carson and Thomas. How do you feel?
Michael Thomas?
No, Logan Thomas.
Carson and Thomas. And you traded Hawkinson and...
Wait, okay, so Hawkinson and James Robinson for Carson and Logan Thomas. I don't understand this trade is all.
It seems so even, and yet I think... So
I think he lost.
I think he won, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, so he got Logan Thomas and he got Carson.
Yeah.
They are implementing a new sort of offense in Seattle. So I think they're doing what is working early on the season. It's kind of like, how teams will, if you have a really high octane, passing attack or whatever, teams are going to play, more back, right? They're not going to push so it's early on the season. So I think the Seahawks are going with what we know, what they know, the deep ball, equalizer with Lockett and Metcalf. But I think they have yet to really install their game plan as far as how they're going to use Chris Carson, the run game, because this is a new, it's a new offense. They took Waldron from the Rams. I think he won this because here's the thing. Logan Thomas is going to be a model of consistency the rest of the way. I'm a little worried about Ricky Seals-Jones catching the game-winning touchdown. I don't know how that'll work out, but
I don't know about that.
Logan Thomas I have as tight end 6. Now I have Hawk.
So you're higher on him than I am.
I have Hawk higher, of course, but Robinson right now, I don't want anything to do with the running game with Urban Meyer because he loves his Carlos Hyde. He coached him, that whole deal. There hasn't been enough usage of him. They don't really have a game flow. The run game is not working at all. The offensive line isn't very good. And Carson's averaging, I think, what was it last week? He had 60 yards on like 9 carries. This is somebody that's run the ball well. They just aren't running enough. So I think as time goes on, they'll run more. And then you have the model of consistency, in my opinion, Logan Thomas, as long as Ricky Seals-Jones doesn't ruin it. Hawk is better than Thomas, but I think you're getting the premium guy in the running back. Carson is an upgrade.
So I think this trade had to do with Carson, right? That has to be the case. Like, I don't see the roster. What this is telling me is there had to be some, there was a reason you needed Carson.
And I love Carson. So
yeah, I adore Carson, love it. I'm not as high on Logan Thomas, but I think that the goal of this trade, and if it was, I agree that you won if Carson was the goal. So we'll move on to the next one. This is Glenn.
That was tricky, though.
Yeah, that was hard, right?
I was like, wait a minute.
That's a difficult one. So this one is Glenn Kaplan _13, long follower of mine on Twitter, fantastic human. And I think he's mocking me a little bit here. So I'll let you answer before I go on my spiel. I knew there'd be 10 of these questions, but you actually think Daniel Jones over Tannehill this week? ? Haha. I never said that, first of all. I have not commented on this. I do,
by the way.
I do.
Daniel Jones is QB1 this week.
I do, but I have not said it yet. So please do not make assumptions. But tell me about this.
Daniel Jones is QB1 this week. You and I know how putrid the Atlanta secondary is. Down the road, Atlanta secondary might be better. Okay. I'm not ruling that out. They have a lot of young guys, but we just watched Dan Quinn leave the building. We watched Raheem Morris leave the building. It's a whole new regime, honestly, to be honest with you. So the secondary is it's a growing thing. And I do think that you can throw AJ Terrell is going to be a baller someday, not right now. And so I think you can throw on this secondary. On top of that, even if that's not the case, I mean, Daniel Jones is just taking what the defense gives him with Sterling Shepard. I mean, you called this way early on that they just had a chemistry that's just unlike most quarterback receiver duos. Then if Saquon Barkley, whatever he does, will get things going, you can have in the passing game. And then Daniel Jones can run the football. It's the greatest thing, right? He can run the football. And I mean, your secondary, it's like...
Why are we shocked? This is the most baffling thing. This has been the most hilarious. I get
He proved it last year.
I get dragged for even 2019. I get dragged for this, right? Because I'm in on Daniel Jones, especially from a fantasy perspective, because we want to talk Konami code. We want to talk mobility. Like, what do you want Daniel Jones to do more than 2019? 45 rushing attempts for 279 yards. 2020, 65 rushing attempts for 423 yards. Do you want to know, everyone, listen, 122 rushing yards already. It's not, now it's week 3. Like, he did that in 2 weeks. He is on pace to almost rush 900 yards. Is that going to happen? No. The dude's breaking records this year as far as, like, quarterback rushing yards go. This is not normal. Like, he can stink. The Giants can stink, which they do.
He's going to break Eli's career record.
Eli, and I'll do a quick fact, and then we'll move on to the next question. But so Eli Manning, okay, Daniel Jones's longest rushing attempt was 80 yards. Eli Manning in his highest, the most rushing yards he ever had in one season was 82 yards.
Wait, like 82 in a season?
In a season, Daniel Jones said, no, that's fine. He had 423 that same season. So this is a different type of animal. And as fancy, and I see, everyone's very angry that we have to like Daniel Jones now because he finished QB5 through 2 weeks and then QB4 last week, which is so fun for me. I mean, I think it's hilarious.
Against 2 really good defenses.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a sustainable thing.
We'll do 2 questions quick because this one comes from Max Downey. He's someone I went to college with way back. Was hilarious to see him. Hi, Max. Thanks for sending in a question. What's it like being in love with the worst QB in the league? He's not the worst QB in the league. And we just evaluated all of the ways that you can handle that he's not the worst in the entire league. There's definitely worse. So we'll move to the next one. And this is someone that we've both talked about is V_Grove, one of the two. Will Jonnu start to see more targets? And what tight end would you trade for?
Yes. Jonnu will start to see more targets. And the tight end that I'm trading for right now, man, it's tough because people are like, oh, should I trade this guy for should I trade Hockenson for Pitts? I was asked that today. I was like, no. Honestly, I would trade for Hockenson. I mean, if you don't have Hockenson and you have, kind of like the tier below or even below that, I would trade for Hockenson. Here's why. Hockenson is going to get even more reps moving forward. Tyrell Williams is out for, however long he's going to be out. He just went on the IR. I know they added Trinity Benson. They added Kadarius Hodge, 2 guys that they traded for Benson. They claimed Kadarius Hodge. Keep in mind, they cut Brashad Perriman. So really, they're relying on a rookie who I like, by the way, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're relying on Quintez Cephas and Khalif Raymond. You can kind of see how this is starting to kind of push down and compress. And so Jared Goff, knowing Jared Goff, somebody that really keyed in on one guy in Cooper Kupp, pretty much the majority of his Rams tenure, he's going to be doing that with Hockenson. And I know, the feeling is that, Hockenson will be taken out of the game. No, he won't. Jared Goff will still force it to him, and Hawkinson's strong enough to make that play.
Yeah.
I think Hockenson is in PPRs 100%. You should consider trading for him.
Yeah, definitely. And I think historically, like you said, and best, and analysts that when they comment on their team, like they know what they're talking about. Find your favorite analyst for fantasy wise and for each team, right? Like that is the best way. I love talking about home teams because the way that we know our teams is totally different than everyone else. But I agree. I think here's the thing with Jonnu, and I've said this before, I don't like jumping ship this early. Like if you believed in this guy early on, it's a little too early for me to jump ship. So what I would do, I agree with you, Hockenson, that's the guy I'm going for. Historically, Goff, he loves his tight ends. Go for it. He is his security blanket, period. Hockenson will score every single game. That's it. Anytime scorer, I will probably bet that every game that he plays, unless it's something ridiculous. But I think if you're, you might be better off going to waivers right now. Like if you're a little nervous, don't want to make the trade, or they're asking for too much. Like Max Williams, I'm a little impressed with. I need to see consistency out of him, but you could just pick him up. It's, Tremble, we saw him last night. These are guys that maybe if you want to wait a couple weeks, because I think Jonnu does get a bigger role. I just think it hasn't been there yet,
Yeah, I like Arnold too. It was a
Yes.
bummer to
Yeah.
see him not really used much last night. I also missed the prop by 1 yard. We won't get into that.
Yikes,
Um,
sir.
but like Ian Thomas does not scare me, right? Ian Thomas is a bust. Ian Thomas is a blocking tight end. He doesn't offer anything in the receiving game. But Dan Arnold, you mentioned, Tremble. There's another one I want to point out in Noah Fant.
Yes.
Here's the thing is that Drew Lock isn't somebody that really was going to throw over the middle a lot. He wanted to go deep down the sideline, wanted to throw the boundary, make the boundary throws. But when you're looking at Teddy Bridgewater's making those throws. And now with Jerry Jeudy out, if you could get Noah Fant, and I'll also throw this one in there, if you can get George Kittle for super low, because I know people are already off that train because of how it's being used.
Yeah.
He's a little risky because he's such a boom. But with that offense, you just don't know what's going to happen. If you can get George Kittle cheap, that might be the acquisition of the year.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. When we move on to the next question, same user, V_Groove. Again, another guy that's been following me for a while. Really great guy. This is a good question. These next two are very good, and I'm excited to have Jake on to have these because I'm interested in his response. We have yet to talk about this. So will Josh Allen get rolling, or is the Bills offense just not as dangerous as last year?
It's not as dangerous as last year. Okay, so Josh Allen, we could get into. You and I kind of we touched on this on my show a while back. What if Josh Allen is really good, but it's also helping him that he's not playing in front of crowds? Like, remember we talked about that?
He's a nervous Nelly.
I don't think it's entirely that. Like, I can't just entirely put it on the crowds.
He has so much nerves. I don't understand.
But like that offense to me, like I wouldn't take that offense over the Bucks, the Rams, the Chiefs, the Packers. What we saw against the Lions, if they got that rolling, I wouldn't take them over that. I mean, Josh Allen is not QB1. He's not daddy. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I think he's really good. He finished in my top 6 for the season. But I mean, I like guys that like, honestly, Kyler Murray was your QB1. I think Kyler Murray is higher than Josh. That Cardinals offense has a chance if they just
ironically,
no way.
Ironically, the next question. Look at us transitioning, and I need to send this kid a t-shirt because this is great that you got me to have such a beautiful transition on my first episode of Smalls Talks Balls. What is the Cardinals' biggest weakness?
Well, all right. So you were talking a little bit about Max Williams. I don't like Max Williams. Okay. I actually was just on a podcast and said I didn't like him.
High school with a guy named Max Williams, but not with 2 X's.
Oh, okay. Well, the 2 X's is the big,
If you see this, Max Williams, hi.
So they didn't bring back Dan Arnold for some reason. I think he would have been absolutely lethal in this offense. I'm going to say it. I said it in our show. Trade for OJ Howard. Do it.
No, take Ingram.
Do it. Or Ingram. Get any of those guys.
Please.
That's their biggest weakness. It's tight end. If you took away somehow, I'm not saying this is possible, but if you somehow took away DeAndre Hopkins, there are other weapons. But if you're dealing with a secondary like Jalen Ramsey and Darius Williams, which you're going to have to do, and then you have the safeties over the top, or somebody along those lines, right? The Steelers, what have you, a tough defense. You're going to need a tight end to be the equalizer. And I don't think Max Williams is going to do that. So that's my biggest weakness, so to speak. I know some think Kyler Murray turned the ball over is a weakness. I just think that he's having fun and they're winning games, and it's not going to matter until it really hurts them. That's the name of the game for, a true Cliff Kingsbury offense. They're going to take risks. So, totally. I don't hate it.
And I think teams I was surprised, and I tweet this all the time. People that do follow me on Twitter know, I joke around oh my God, Arizona has tight ends on their roster. I didn't even, sorry, I forgot. It's been years since we've even had a tight end involved in their offensive scheme. It's the same thing kind of with the Bills, right? Get the tight end play going, because it could help you so much. But for some reason, you can't do it. It drives me freaking crazy. But
Dawson Knox had his best game of maybe his career last week. So we'll see. We'll see with him. I liked him
getting involved. I think the other weakness too is we'll see how it starts to hurt them, because They brought AJ, you have AJ Green, Christian Kirk, you have Hopkins, who is fantastic, and you have this stud Rondell Moore, who I always thought would step into the wide receiver 2 role. He was one of my favorite rookies coming in. Shout out Jalen Darden, though, who's going to get his first game.
I thought of you as soon as Antonio Brown went on the COVID IR.
Yeah, but I think that they are gonna, hopefully Cliff does not get doesn't stutter step this and start getting who are we giving the ball to? Use Rondell Moore. He is your wide receiver 2. Use him appropriately. So I think that they could end up being their biggest weakness if they do not play the playbook appropriately.
I agree. And I was going to say that as well, just turn Rondell Moore loose. This isn't we're not talking about a quarterback that's learning how to read coverages. Throw him in the fire. This guy can play in this league. He's at receiver.
And he's like a brute. He almost has this RB feel to him too, where he's very aggressive.
Well, you saw that 600-pound squat.
He's awesome. Are you kidding? Are you crazy? But we'll move on before I end up spending all day. Everyone knows I'm a closet Cardinals fan. I think they're going to do fantastic. I think people are too low on them. So this next one is from and I don't know how, LWYRUP 406. It's Dak or Hurts, which is a very interesting question. I've been getting this a lot.
I mean, they're playing each other, I believe.
They are. Monday Night Football, right? Or no?
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Sunday night.
Oh, no, it's Sunday night. Who's
Sunday night? I don't know. It's too many games. I can't keep up.
There's so many.
I need note cards. I was joking with my dad. I'm going to have to start doing note cards.
I'm going to say this, okay? The Chargers defense, I think, is phenomenal. And Dak, I didn't think was going to have his best game against them. The Bucs defense isn't as great, but the way he commanded himself in the pocket, the way he was able to move, those subtle adjustments, the Buccaneers defense, the way they approach, they're very built 7, up front, the front 7 instead of the secondary. Right now, they're really all out of sorts. Whereas the Chargers are kind of, really putting together a nice overall team. So I look at, since they're very similar to the Eagles, I think that pocket mobility, he doesn't have to run it like crazy, but I think Dak is going to have himself a game in this one. Jalen is probably going to have an opportunity as well. But like you said, the Cowboys are also an interesting defense. They did a nice job. They forced some turnovers on Herbert. They couldn't stop the run, but the Chargers stopped it themselves. So there's that. So yeah, I look at this and I'm thinking, Jalen Hurts could still kill you with his running ability. But I think Dak is going to get more through the air. And I think it's going to be a lot more to the point where I'll go with Dak over Hurts. But it's a great question.
Yeah, I agree. And I do agree with you. I think this is going to be the game that we need to see both of these teams. They've kind of been very polarizing where they're doing things we weren't expecting. The Eagles look very good. I still do not believe that the Eagles defense is that fantastic, like everyone is saying. And I think that the Cowboys have looked good, but I also think the Chargers just looked bad last week. I think that they have not picked up the way that they will moving forward. We'll go through, let's do 2 more here and then we'll end it out. Maybe 3 more. So Mikey MC says, if Deontay Johnson sits, which I think he was declared out. So this will end up being, do I start Shep Daddy? This is obviously someone that follows me, or Devonta Smith.
Shepard all day. He might lead the league. He might lead the entire league this week in fantasy scoring for a receiver.
Yeah, and I think through the 2 weeks he did wide receiver 14. I mean, we're talking about a guy, and I tried to tell everyone, no one listened. Everyone, he was he was going to do this. This is going to happen. I think he was coming off a career high year. He needs a wide receiver 1 and a RB1. When they are on the team, this guy goes off. It's a known fact. And that is who obviously Daniel Jones trusts, even who Garrett trusts at this point, because obviously we can't get anyone else involved. We'll do 1 more and then we'll wrap up here. This one was fun. And I don't even know. I'm going to ignore the sorry username. You'll know it's yours. My bad. Flex, Hollywood or Edmonds, and then in parentheses, which I thought this was funny, so it feels like an important note, or Rondell Moore, 12-team PPR.
So Who was the first one? I didn't get the first one.
Hollywood Brown.
Okay, Hollywood. I thought that was like his name for a second. I was like totally
I
spaced out.
actually call him not so Hollywood, but I will say he finished wide receiver 6.
I know, and
What?
that
How?
that's
But I kind of like it, and I think
yeah, you know, that's not as easy. I mean, you're going up against the Lions.
Yeah, and I don't think Edmonds should be in this question, to be completely honest. I think everyone needs to calm down. Like, he finished RB27 through 2 weeks. Cool. I love that for him. I just don't think it's gonna be a consistent thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Hollywood Brown. I think Lamar Jackson and company. Lamar's gonna be riding high. I mean, he just beat Patrick Mahomes. That was the big monkey off his back, besides winning the Super Bowl, which they need to do. But that was huge. I think they're gonna ride this momentum out. You had Tyson Williams, who showed you his ability. Not only that, you're getting some production out of Latavius Murray. He had a nice run from Devonta Freeman, or the corpse of Devonta Freeman. And to be honest with you, Hollywood Brown is always on the field when Lamar Jackson's throwing. I think I saw a stat today. It was like 88% of the time Lamar Jackson's throwing, Hollywood Brown's on the field. Something like that. Like, I mean, that's how you know.
Bateman's not there, and
exactly.
Lamar, the illness, whatever. I think that I agree with you on this one. I think that even though they try to say things about Hopkins, we need to see more go I need to see him do it twice. If he does the same thing twice, he's that involved twice, I'm definitely all in. I mean, I have him on benches, love that. But I think Hollywood, he's impressing me this season. And I think it's a product of that offense and what they've been able to do and who Lamar is relying on. And again,
he's
like
developing. He's a young receiver. He's had injury issues.
Mm-hmm.
This is a guy that they really liked. I mean, super fast, but it's not just speed to be a receiver. He does a great job of eluding tacklers and, creating space on his own. I've been really impressed with Hollywood Brown for through the 2 weeks. We'll see if he keeps it up, but I'll go with him right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, this is it. We'll wrap it up there. Tell everyone where they can find you. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Smalls Talks Balls. Tell everyone where they can find you. Twitter, YouTube, all the things.
Yes, so you can find me on all the things at
all
JK.
The social platforms.
All the social platforms at JK Bogan on pretty much everything. JK Bogan on Twitter, JK Bogan on Instagram. Not that I really use it a ton, but you could follow me on there. I'm also on. I'm pretty much my company, Downtown Rams. We have a website covering all sorts of stuff: Rams, fantasy football, and NFL draft. You can find that at downtownrams.com. And my baby. Well, I guess Downtown Rams is also my baby, but my YouTube channel. Yeah, my YouTube channel, which if you're watching this right now, you can see Jake Ellenbogen in the name. It's just my name. So go search my name and you'll find it.
Very easy. Very easy. And Jake is fantastic. Someone that I admired even before when I was still in medical school and decided I was going to drop out. He was someone that I was following before I made the transition to football. Thank you so much for coming on. And be sure, guys, find us Champions Round on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On Monday, we'll be announcing the winner of a giveaway between a Dak and Devonta Smith jersey. Awesome giveaway. Low-key want to enter myself. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but you guys can find me at Steph Smalls on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all the social platforms. Until next week, see you guys later.